This is a quick divergent from the overseas trips to uh, couple of stories here in the U.S. I was looking this morning through my one of these books. I have tried to put my journals into some kind of order, a book or something, for many years. So I had a list of stories in here that I was going over to see which ones I wanted to do next. I only have 2 more days at this location, so I need to make some wise use of my time. These are various ones in here thrown off at Christmas. The man yelling at me for being on the beach in the Caribbean. The train ride, sunset. The bike ride on Blue Ridge Parkway. Getting to get the mail on the train. Various sporting events. Things. And then I come across, ones where I got to swim off the waterfall in Australia. The people, various times when I was frightened. And then I come across this one that says, one-eyed black brick man, a horse fell on my car. Excuse me, can you see my hand? And I'm thinking, what is that? I don't remember that one. I'm padlocked in. And then I remember these 2 times when I was padlocked into different places. So I thought I'd share those because I found them very entertaining this morning. The first one is, this is where I was living in a warehouse it was my family's ice plant. And one night, it was way in a unused section of town, okay? And one night I was hungry, so I had ordered a pizza. My uncle had this little garden in the back, and I used to go back there and pilfer some of his vegetables, order a pizza, and put some fresh veggies on it. So I had ordered this pizza, and it was pitch black part of town, right? There's like abandoned, nobody back here is what it looks like. So this poor guy is having to deliver a pizza to me. And I see him, I'm on the phone. I can see he's driving around, he's making a U-turn, he's leaving. Like, this is not a place a delivery person wants to come to, right? So I say, no, I see you. You need to come back here to where I am. I promise you I'm down here. So he turns around, I said, I can see your car. You just made a U-turn. So he comes down and knocks on the door. I'm waiting out there. And I say, all right, here's the money for the pizza. Now, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to padlock the door. And he looked at me because, see, here's the thing. For me, anyway, well, he was quite frightened because he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, what? I said, yes, I need you to padlock the door for me. He said, oh, no, I ain't padlocking no white chick up in a warehouse. I said, please, you have to padlock it, because if you don't, I have to go outside, around through one gate, open up another gate, lock them both, come inside, open up a set of 12, well, they were probably 14, 15-foot tall doors, come into this pitch black area, walk across through where the cats were and the birds were and the leftover pools of oil were and these huge machineries, go up the stairs and get around to the upstairs office part, which was where I called my home. And so eventually I convinced him that he would lock me in, and he padlocked me in. But another time I was, this is my little sleeping pad for a year. This is where I stayed in the family business in the office. And every morning when my uncle came, I had to get rid of it so that it looked like a working business place for him. Oops, I forgot to turn the light off. Make it a little bit easier to see my sleeping quarters, which is just very ironic considering I'm staying in this amazing place right now. So that was part of the entertainment to me. It's the contrast of the places that I've lived. I don't have any pictures from when I lived in Richmond with me because that's not what I was bringing down here. But I left Jackson, went up to Richmond, and stayed there. I had this really great warehouse in the bottom and rented the upstairs part. Well, the guy that I rented it from had the business on the left and on the bottom floor where I was. I came down one time. We had a roll-up garage door that needed to be padlocked from the outside, right? Well, Charlie and I had what we thought was a system to make sure that I wouldn't be locked in there, but it was not foolproof. So on occasion, I would come down and I'd be locked in. Charlie had padlocked me inside from the outside. There was a tiny little mail slot that was on the opposite side of the padlock. I would peek out through it, and I saw it was when the bottom was not very populated, right? Okay. So I'd wait and wait for somebody to come by. And this one time, this guy's walking by with this beautiful white dog, and I hollered through the little slit, "Excuse me, can you see my hand?" He looks across. I said, "Yeah, you across the street with the white dog. Do you see my fingers out here?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm padlocked in." "Seriously? Seriously, would you please come let me out?" And he walks across with his dog. And, it's like a 2-inch wide slit and maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches long. And I hand him my keys, right? Because it's the only way for me to get out. So I hand him the key to the warehouse, and he undoes the padlock, and then we roll it up, and I say, "Thank you." And he's just kind of staring at me. So my landlord locked me in. Well, another time, this had happened several times, right? So I guess this is the third or fourth time that I got padlocked in there. There's nobody out, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally, this mother and her child are walking on my side of the sidewalk, and I say the same thing. "Excuse me, hello, I'm padlocked in. Do you see my hand? I have my key. Could you let me out?" She gets all kind of nervous about it, like I'm supposed to be padlocked in there, right? I said, "My landlord locked me in." "Well, can you call him?" I said, "No, he lives over in Mechanicsville. I have the key. Can you let me out?" Are you sure you're supposed to be coming out?" She's trying to do like a good example, I think, for her kid, because at first she was going to let me out, and then she gets a little paranoid that there might be a reason that I'm padlocked in here, like I'm some kind of Looney Tune or crazy person. I'm trying to convince her, who I now am certain is a Looney Tune and a crazy person, should I even give her my key to let me out of there? And eventually her little boy, who's I guess maybe 6, 7-ish, he's looking at her, at the mom like, "You are crazy, mother, let this woman out." So finally I'm like, "I have the key. I own the key. He just locked me in." So eventually I convince her. She unlocks the key, and I open it up, and she starts trying to talk to me, and I just said, "Thank you," shut it and locked it and left. Oh, and another time I was in the United States Post Office, the museum in Washington, D.C., and they made an announcement, "It's time to leave in 10 minutes or 15 or 20 or something." Well, I was in one of the rooms, just looking at all these amazing stamps from their massive collection. And I'm looking and looking, and then I think, seems like they should have said it's time to leave. So I come out of this tiny little room into another room, and then I get into the bigger room, and there's not a soul anywhere around. I head up the escalators, which are no longer working now. I walk up to the top, and everything there is double bolted with wire metal gates all the way across it, and I'm on the wrong side of it. There's a gift shop. I go to the lady, I knock on the door to her, and mouthing to her, "I'm locked in the museum," and she says, "I can't let you out." I'm like, "What am I supposed to do? I can't stay in here until the morning." And I'm also thinking, what alarms am I setting off? But nothing is going on. Nobody's coming after me. So she tells me to go around and go to this back entrance. So I go back down the escalator, looking around thinking, somebody should have come and made sure that no one was left in this museum. I mean, of all museums to leave somebody in their stamps. Do you know how small a stamp is and how expensive a rare stamp is? I'm thinking I could have just picked one up and put it in my back pocket, but I didn't. That's not who I am, but it seems like a reasonable thing to be worried about if you were the caretaker of this museum, right? So I go around and I get to the other area, walk out. There's this sleepy guard kind of sitting in a chair, and I said, excuse me, I got locked in. He said, okay. I'm thinking, y'all do this all the time. Anyway, a couple of locked in stories. This last picture right here was from the ice plant. I wrote a long book on that business, but it included this is a fig tree. It happens to be the largest fig tree in the state of Mississippi. It has a U.S. Forest Service, Mississippi Forest Service plaque dedicated to it. All right, I'll be back. I'm going to do Bali this afternoon. Ciao.